Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we have here another Mazda from France, from Paris. The customer or the owner, it's not that far to be honest, and that's why even he brought it to us, because it is not that far. So he dropped the car off for us to have a look at it, to diagnose it, because what he told us so far, he has been to 5 different garages in France and no one seemed to be able to fix the issue. And I believe he told me he already spent around 2,000 euros on the car. In the background then he's working on his BMW, on the engine. He's disassembling it at the moment, so that will be recorded as well. He's doing the video on it, but let me check, or let me show you what is wrong with this one. Unfortunately there is a lot. So yeah, let me switch the camera, the angles, and let's have a look underneath the bonnet, and then let's have a look on the computer with the scan tool what is actually wrong with the car, or what we think is wrong with the car. Well, before we remove the beauty cover on this one, actually let's have a look at the beauty cover. We can see droplets or stains on the beauty cover, white dots. Usually that is an indicator of the car having a head gasket issue, or the exhaust gases are entering the cooling system and pressurizing it. So that wants me to check the coolant straight away, like if it is low on coolant or if it has the proper coolant, and also check the cap, because most of the time people think that the cap is wrong. As you can see, it should hold around 108 kPa. About that, it should let all the pressure or even the water go to the expansion tank or the overflow reservoir. And if by any chance the cap fails, it can let the pressure out, or it can also like overpressurize this one, and then the coolant just squirts everywhere. But this car has still the original coolant cap or the radiator cap, so no one replaced that. We are going to have a look at the water or coolant level. As I said, just let me bring a flashlight. So let's have a look at the level. It's just below the low level, and also as you can see it is pink coolant, and the cap clearly says FL22 coolant, which is the green one. So now I can remove the beauty cover on the engine cover. I will do later the head gasket test, but I want to inspect the engine bay. Beauty cover, engine cover moved to the side, and to be honest, I don't even know where to start, because there are so many things which are wrong with this one. Mostly it is the bolts, and not mostly, but the bolts and nuts, they are mixed everywhere. For example, this is not the correct nut which goes on there, and also that plastic pin that's supposed to be here supporting or holding the engine cover, just everywhere you see the nut is not the correct one there. Bracket is missing here. Also the rubber around the dipstick hole, it's other way around. It has leaks, or something is leaking on the top. Maybe the oil seal for the injector, maybe that is leaking. Also bracket for the exhaust pressure sensor is missing. Bolt is missing from the turbo shield. ECU cover is missing. The cable wiring to the ECU is loose. Again, not the proper bolts are used, which on its own, to be honest, it's not that big of a deal. However, it is a suggestion, like how the previous garages, people who worked on the car, how seriously or how proud they are in their job. That's an indication to us, at least to me, like how well they done the job. Injectors seem to be over tightened. Yeah, definitely the intake manifold has been off, because we can see traces of silicone pretty much everywhere. So they used silicone. Also rocker cover or valve cover has been removed, black silicone, but not just where they should put, but everywhere alongside the perimeter of the valve cover. And an interesting thing, look at this bolt Obviously this is not the correct bolt, but a fuel line is coming here from there, which is connected here to the wrong location. Look at that one, guys, that's double. So basically the return line from the fuel injectors sitting on top of the other fuel line. This is the correct one here, so this fuel line should be down there and the other fuel line should be connected here. Yeah, so unfortunately a lot of mistakes were made during the repair or attempted repair of this engine. Now first let's have a look from underneath how the things look like, and then I'll jump into the cabin, connect the scan tool and check the fault codes and the live data, what I can see and what the verdict will be for this one. I have removed the undercover, the engine undercover, and let's have a look what we can see. Above it, what we can see is that the oil pan, this cover for the oil pan, is full of oil. It's dripping in oil. And also if we have a look at the oil pan, you can see there is a black silicone, which is not the factory one. So that means the oil pan has already been off at some point. And also have a look at the bolts. Those are not the original bolts, and you can see some sort of washers are underneath. We don't know if they are cross-threaded or not. And also we can see up there that the coolant, you see that coolant hose is full of silicone, so they use silicone. And also between the engine block and timing cover you can see a silicone, so that means that the timing has been done or the timing cover has been off. And they tampered with the turbo as well, because there is one shield or bracket missing from the turbo covering that rod for the wastegate, not wastegate, but which is directing the flow of the air between the two turbos, between the small and the big turbo. I have scanned the car for fault codes. As you can see, we have two fault codes present in the engine ECU. P0101 complaining about the airflow of the engine, and the other one, the P258B, complaining about the vacuum pump. Let's have a look at the dashboard. As you can see, everything is in French. The vehicle inspection, if I translate it to the English, that says it's on. The warning message: the car has 153,000 kilometers, which translates to around just slightly below 100,000 miles. Now let me actually start the engine and have a look at the live data. The first thing or first data point I want to check is the brake booster pressure sensor, because the car has vacuum pump fault code, and as you can see that is climbing down very slowly. Further, let's have a look what else I can see. Oil pressure is okay, however the engine is not totally or completely up to the operating temperature. I must say, guys, I already have checked the oil pressure at higher temperature or engine oil temperatures. The oil pressure was correct, the oil pressure was good. Also we could see that the oil pan has already been removed. However, we don't know what has been done underneath it. Pretty much I suspect that the oil strainer has been replaced, but maybe not, we don't know that for sure. Exhaust pressure sensor values are good. Let me rev the engine. I'm going to rev the engine to 3000 RPM very rapidly, and I want to see how the numbers are changing. So basically when I rev it to 3000 RPM, exhaust pressure sensor values should go up quickly and then should go down quickly as well. That means the pipe underneath the sensor, it should be clean. Let me do that. I'm happy with that. That looks fairly quick to me. So that indicates the pipe underneath the exhaust pressure sensor very likely is fairly clean. Now the DPF values, the exhaust pressure, differential pressure sensor values, they are fine. Around, I would say, average 0.4 at idle, which is good. Let me have a look at 2500 RPM. 3 point something, it's still okay, not bad, but we need to check when the last regen happened or when was it. Further, let's have a look what else we can see from the live data. Let's have a look at the injector correction factors or values. All seem to be pretty much within spec, within range, which is minus 0.7 to plus 0.7. However, guys, don't forget or be aware, a lot of you think that this is the indication how healthy your injectors are. No, this is not. I may do a separate video on it. This is not the indication how healthy or how good the injector are. It is the indication of the combustion, how good the combustion is. So basically, the numbers closer to zero, the better, means the combustion is more perfect, not the injectors or not only the injectors. As I said, if there will be enough requests, I may do a video about it. Further, let's have a look what I can see here. The DPF, the accumulation of the particulate matter in the DPF is 2.4, let's say. The regen happens when those numbers reach, I believe, 6.5 or 7.5, then it will do the regen. So let's have a look when the last regen happened, which is only 14 kilometers ago. So that is not a long ago, and it is nearly halfway full, which indicates me that the DPF is filling extremely fast. However, I only are concerned about the DPF when I know everything is working properly on or inside the engine. I mean, injectors, it has free flowing of air, so no blockage in the air system or intake system, meaning no carbon deposits build up anywhere, neither in the EGR or the intake system. The camshaft is not worn, so on, so forth. So basically, what the car does or how it behaves, as you can see, check engine on, yellow triangle on, warning message on. And since this one is an automatic car with an automatic gearbox, whenever the P0101 fault code is present, it affects the ECU of the gearbox as well. And what it does, it doesn't shift up until 3000 RPM, and when it does the gear changes, the car is shaking. Basically, when a newbie driver is driving a manual and he doesn't know how to operate the clutch, exactly the same feeling. It is very annoying, very unpleasant. So yeah, now let me tell you what I think is wrong with the car. Well, first of all, vacuum pump definitely needs replacement. Also, I would check the camshaft for wear because of the P0101. Also, the P0101 can be indication of the carbon buildup inside the intake system as well. Funny thing that both the valve cover has been removed and also intake manifold has been removed, which means theoretically they all should be done. So if they remove the valve cover, they should know, or whoever has done that, they should have known what a worn camshaft looks like, and if it was worn, they should have changed it or replaced it. Also, carbon cleaning has or should have been done if the intake manifold was removed. Unfortunately, because it was done by other garages, we need to inspect basically the camshaft for wear, also how the intake system looks like, and also because you've seen that the oil pan has been removed, we need to inspect that, what has been changed, what sort of job they've done. So yeah, that's how we would start the car, that's how we would start the repairs. So if they haven't done the job properly, what we need to do, except changing the vacuum pump, we need to change the camshaft if it is worn, a few other bits with that. Also, we need to do a carbon cleaning if it hasn't been done or if it hasn't been done properly, and we don't know if they changed the strainer. If it is clean, we don't need to change the strainer. So if the strainer is clean, it's not clogged with particles of carbon, you don't need to change. Apart from these things, we still need to correct whatever mistakes the previous garages have done. And now guys, just a few words, because lots of you, or maybe few of you, are like to down talk or talk shit about these engines because they say it's unreliable. I agree to some degree. However, if you've seen the first part of the video, you must admit that the job wasn't done properly. So if it doesn't matter what good or bad the engine is, if someone messes it up, you have to correct it. You can't fault the engine or the people who's done the engine. Yeah, so it's not the engine's fault that the car is still not running properly after thousands spent on the work, yet it is still in this condition. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think. I know lots of you will say that these are very unreliable engines. I don't really think that, just that's my opinion. I may do a separate video like what can go or what can go wrong with these engines, and what to watch out or look for, how to diagnose them. Let me know if you want that, guys. I still want to do the head gasket test, if the color, so basically there is a test fluid which I will show you. So test fluid, if it turns or changes color from blue to green, that means the exhaust gases are present in the cooling system, which can be from either the head gasket or EGR. Most of the time, 95% of the time, it is the head gasket, but we need to test the EGR before we assume that is the head gasket. I have turned off the engine so that you can hear me better. I ran the test, the head gasket test, and it looks like the car at this point doesn't have head gasket issues. As you can see, the test fluid is still as it was from the get-go, so blue. Normally when this changes color to yellowish or greenish, that is reacting with the CO2 or carbon dioxide in the cooling system, and that's why it turns the color or changes the color, and it means exhaust gases are present in the cooling system, which is not the case with this car at this moment. So I guess these dots are spillages or spillage dots when someone filled up the cooling system or with coolant, and that's how they got there. But we needed to make sure the car has no head gasket issues at this point, because it would be quite counterproductive if we do everything and the car has head gasket issues. Basically, then it would include further costs, and in that case I would say that would be our fault, because we misdiagnosed the car. We didn't diagnose it properly on the first try. So now I need to call the owner, what we discovered, what we found, let him know, quote the job up, and then he will decide whether he wants to go ahead or not with the repairs. As I told you guys in the beginning of the video, he had already spent 2,000 euros on the car, still not fixed, still a lot of issues, if not more than the car actually had, because of, as you could see, what they messed up in the engine bay or on the engine. So if there will be another part of this video with this Mazda from France, you will know that the owner went ahead with the repairs. If not, maybe we are too busy to record it, but I think we will, because we will find quite big surprises. I have that guess that we will, or we would find, if he goes ahead, or if there is no video, then he didn't go ahead. But anyways, thank you very much for watching, and see you soon in the very next video. Until then, take care and bye bye.